What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So I am in the midst of thinking what to do with some parts of my collection. Wanted to get your guys' 2 cents in the matter. So this area all depends on the Vegeta bust when I get it, how much I like it. I'm thinking I probably won't do an anime shelf. And I probably will sell Tanjiro a Vegeta bust and not get any of the others. Simply because I do prefer video game statues, especially when I look at that like Ellie, how much I love it, how impressive that is. I'm just like, I can't sacrifice video game stuff. God. Anyways, so I'm trying to figure out what to do with that guy. So there's a few ways I could go about this. Now, one thing I know for sure is Prime 1 did announce God of War Ragnarok license 2 years ago. Now, we don't have the statues yet, but I'm certain here in the next 6 months we'll probably see them. Likely either Kratos versus Thor or Kratos, Atreus, and Freya versus Odin. Those are the two likely scenarios. Kratos would likely have, all the swap outs, the spear, Dropner spear, Blades of Chaos, and axe. I would want to display it with the Dropner spear. And I'm fine if it's just versus Thor, because I think I prefer Thor over Odin. And I already have an Atreus, so I don't necessarily need a second Atreus. I wouldn't mind Freya, because I do like her quite a bit. But Kratos with the spear versus Thor. Now, here's what I'm kind of thinking. This is where we need to put God of War Ragnarok. And then we move that here. You lower that there. And right here we have this little shelf behind where we currently put the dog. I can put the dog back down on the shelf, because God of War is not as wide as this. This is wider, so I'll be able to fit the dog there. And then I'll actually raise that shelf about 6 inches. And I could technically throw those two together up there. Because I do like that pairing. I think those pair pretty cool. And so I was like, yeah, that works. I like the look of that. I think they're same pose, more or less. I mean, slightly different, but you get the gist. I think that looks really cool. And then, so this would be God of War 1 with that setup raised and above right here, because there's lots of height space. And then God of War Ragnarok right there, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 1. And then Resident Evil would need to go here. And with this spot, you basically free up that. I mean, obviously you still have that young Kratos, which you could put there. We're still kind of low on space. We may have to sacrifice some statues. I was thinking I may want to consider getting rid of Neo. That's a space hog. I do like it. Technically, I also could do three-tiered shelf. There is lots of height space technically right here, right there. There's definitely some height space if we ever wanted to do like a 3-tier shelf. And some of these statues aren't quite as tall. Like those two are not tall. If you remove that back thing and do the swap out, that's not tall. That Kratos isn't super tall. Heck, all those Witcher statues are not very tall. So if I did want to theoretically do a 3-tier shelf, I could. I could make this entire lot 3 tiers and then do the busts over here. There's a lot of ways to figure it out. I mean, I think in general, for video games, the other video games I really want is Eve from Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII, the entire Final Fantasy VII cast, God of War Ragnarok, and an accurate Tomb Raider from like the first game, ideally, Elden Ring. Those would be the games I would want. So, I mean, the obvious choice is to sacrifice MK 1/4. There's also a thought to even expand MK, but Prime 1 video game statues are, without a doubt, far more impressive than the MK. The cream of the crop of my MK is definitely this, and then after that, I'd say that display. I really like the boss display a lot. And I do love those two, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero, quite a bit. Those, Raiden, Liu Kang, Quan Chi, and Baraka would definitely be easier sells for me. Like, I wouldn't miss them as much, but I'd love to keep those two and the bosses, ideally. I really want to get a Shao Kahn 1/3. I mean, there's no space up here, but, let's just say you put it right there. I would love a Shao Kahn 1/3. That is like the one. I'm so pissed that PCS canceled that 1/3. Good freaking goodness. It would have fit so good right there. I really wanted that. I may just commission it. You know, like if I'm going to commission another statue, it'll probably be Shao Kahn 1/3. Because PCS is done with MK. Our only hope now is a custom. You know, because I'm pretty sure PCS has the license for so many years, but since they're not doing anything with it, and I doubt another licensor will even pick it up. So it's like, it's kind of hopeless at this point to get any more licensed MK. I feel like custom is your only route now. And there's 2 good custom studios, and I'm going to make a video about one of them. You know, so I've been talking to him about, you know, hey, could I commission a Shao Kahn with you guys? And he's like, yeah. But what do you guys think of that Kratos up there like that? I put it on just this giant riser with the game underneath. I mean, it looks cool that high. It's like, dang, that looks cool. You know, and then this guy, if I'm sitting down, it's kind of how that looks. Looks all right. I mean, I don't like the fact the 2 bars are blocking it. I do wish it was bigger, you know, because it is not a half scale. It's definitely more towards a 1/3 scale. I'd say it leans more towards 1/3 than it does half, you know, especially comparing it next to NK 1/3. Kratos is 7 feet tall. I believe Goro is 8 feet tall, you know, but he's almost, you know, I'd say he's almost about the size of that Goro, like the head size. Goro's bigger, but I think it's just about slightly overscaled 1/3 is how I would, you know, argue that Kratos. Now, I think it'd be cool if you could just get some legs and a base and make it a 1/3 scale statue. I think that'd be sick. Like, might as well just complete it. That'd be really cool. Definitely really digging Ellie. I like her there. I think we'll be able to fit Abby angled like this, and then Last of Us 1 there. Now, I have thought about just, you know, like I said, I want all those games, but at the end of the day, my video game setup is so solid right now. The one thing that definitely will come is God of War Ragnarok. I absolutely want it. You know, on each side of the Kratos boss, the first and second game, then it's like the ultimate, truly ultimate you could ever get for God of War. I mean, Ori is ultimate. Like, I haven't seen another better God of War collection in the world. I already have the best. But it could not get any possibly better once you get the Ragnarok diorama. So yeah, that's the first thing. Most likely I won't do anime line. I think we should just sell this. And that Vegeta bus, I need to see it in person, but there's just, I mean, the clicker bus is definitely far better. And we're just really low on space right now. You know, really low on space. So we did order Queen T-Rex. Because I got the Kratos life-size refund, finally, we ordered T-Rex. Now, there's a few areas that we can throw this T-Rex. One, right here in the middle of the room. So yeah, this is option 1, is we just throw it right here. Now, I don't have the exact measurements, and if anyone owns it, please send me the base dimensions. But I was thinking I could probably fit it right here. Right where that Chucky shelf is. I can scoot this shelf over like 2+ inches. And, you know, I mean, obviously height and I don't think depth would be an issue. I could even bring this couch forward if I needed to. But I think it could go right here. You know, I'm just thinking how cool and how much blocking, you know, giant 5 foot tall T-Rex would do there. I think it could look really cool right here because this is all 1/3 scale, and I feel like a T-Rex right here would just be sick looking. You know, so I'm like, that is one option, is you do it here. Plus the way the T-Rex is angled, it goes like, it angles this way. So if like right here, it could look really cool. You know, so that's option 1. And technically I could also put the Terminator over there and do the T-Rex right here. I'm like, but the Terminator, because of the way these arms are, this and that, it would absolutely block that and down low. Where the T-Rex, based off the angle and where it's located, I feel like it wouldn't block anything. So that's, you know, option A, mid-room, option B, right there. Now, of course, you ask, what would you do with this display? I mean, I could always return the girls back here. They're not as, like, you know, they don't take up as much space. And I'd probably just, frankly, do all 3 Chucky dolls behind them. I was like, yeah, I could just throw the Chucky dolls right there. That'd look cool. You know, part of the horror setup, the girls right here. You know, that would definitely be less, space in the middle, having the 3 Chucky dolls with the girls right here on this shelf. So that's one option. Definitely. Of course, if I wanted to change up this entire display is another option. People have mentioned in my group, they feel like I should move the entire Jurassic setup in here since the Queen T-Rex would be here. Now, if you wanted to do that, there's a few ways you could go about it. Now, Jurassic, at a minimum, folks, would take up this shelf, this shelf, this shelf, and all that. Like, basically all of this for just the statues in the hallway. And then the Queen T-Rex would go in the middle of the room, in that scenario. If you wanted Queen T-Rex to basically go where this shelf is, and you remove this shelf, kind of like how I did Terminator before, you'd have to do Queen T-Rex, and then Rotunda, and then you'd have to take up all the shelves up until Khaleesi. I mean, I don't even know if that would be sufficient. I mean, you could do Rotunda T-Rex, Raptor and Raptor Bust. I mean, I don't even know if it's enough, because you have Dilophosaurus, which almost takes up a whole shelf. I would say we'd probably almost want to... that's a tough one, because I still want to keep Game of Thrones over there, especially since it's deeper. It couldn't go hallway. If I raise Game of Thrones there and put Blade and Underworld in the hallway with those down low, but you basically move Game of Thrones up there and then do all Jurassic from here. It'd be Game of Thrones and Jurassic is how it would basically be. 2 themes, Game of Thrones, Jurassic Park. So yeah, that would be a tough one. Still probably be better to do the Queen T-Rex here in the middle of the room and do Jurassic from there. You do Rotunda T-Rex with Dilophosaurus and Raptor. And I'd almost want to do the Raptor bust next to Queen T-Rex. And then down in those 3 would be the 3 Jurassic World statues I have. And you'd also have to wall mount the 2 busts right there. Do the whole leaves and theme. The cane, the props. It would be a lot of work to move everything, so I'm not really leaning to moving Jurassic here. I really like the TV wall as is. I feel like, if anything, you do either Queen T-Rex here or right there. It will not fit in the closet where we have the Predator 1/3. The base is simply too wide. I think it's like 40 inches wide. It's basically like as wide as that table, as far as dimensions state. So, yeah, it's not going to fit in the closet. Now, the other option I was always considering is, doing the Prime 1 Predator line in here, basically doing like 2 back-to-back 60-inch garage shelves, and you could fit 3 Prime 1s and a bust, or 4 Prime 1s. And maybe still even a bust. But considering I've already bought the Queen T-Rex, which I bought it for several reasons. One, it's a huge statement piece. It is basically a Queen Thanos, a Sauron bust. And those pieces are truly the most special out there. Like, when you come into my collection, it is this type of statue that everyone's eyes like, holy crap. Anytime someone comes into this room, the Marvel room, that's where their eyes are gratitude towards. They're just like, oh my God. So, it's like, yeah, Prime 1 Predator is freaking amazing. One of the best 1/3s ever made. But it still is no like Queen Thanos or Sauron. Now, I do have the Deep Tail Predator bust as well on PO, and I want to pair it with the Prime 1. So I'm thinking we can still keep the Prime 1 Predator, just have it the Jungle Hunter only, but we pair it with the Deep Tail bust and we remove this. I might even be able to fit that down here. If I scoot that over, return him back onto Grimlock, I might be able to fit the Fell Beast right here. I could even angle it this way. So when you look up and down, you could see the Fell Beast right here. I think I could fit it. And then you'd put the Deep Tail bust there. Now, Deep Tail's 51 inches tall, like the big one. And I'd want the big one. It would go to about right there. I mean, I could lower this shelf if I truly needed to, like 3 inches. I don't want to lower it. But the Deep Tail bust is also 33 inches wide, which means its shoulders would go to about right there, and then popping over Balrog. Now, Balrog, I can scoot over like 5 inches, and I'd also probably angle it slightly like this, so the shoulder goes like right here, and then right here. And then depth is 22 inches, so it would hang off the shelf about 1.5 inches, not a huge deal. That wouldn't bug me. But it would be the best display to do, like another companion to this display, you do deep tail bust right here. And I'll show you a photo here in a sec. But I was like, yeah, that could work. We could still have at least one prime one, the original OG Jungle Hunter, with a bust. You keep it masked, you know, because my other Jungle Hunter display in the main AVP room is my unmasked. So, yeah, like that is my unmasked display, which I really like. I really like the unmasked portrait as well on deep tail. I think it looks really freaking cool. I'd have to see which ones I like better. You know, so let me just show you guys real quickly the Photoshop, because I did Photoshop it in my group if you're not in my Facebook group. So check this out. It is here somewhere. Jupiter, so many posts. Oh my Jupiter. Let me find it. Alrighty, there is kind of how it would look. You know, about that tall. I'd slightly angle it like so. I'm like, that looks pretty sick. Now, of course, you guys also know I've considered the Neytiri bust. That would be a completely unique, different bust in the closet. It's also 45 inches tall, absolutely gorgeous. That would mean getting rid of this, 'cause, you know, I wouldn't have space. I mean, unless... I mean, of course, there's always ways, you know. I mean, theoretically, I've also thought if I change this to 40, 24-inch deep, I could fit 3 Prime 1 Predators right where this line is. It's like, dang. But let's say hypothetically we put the Queen T-Rex right there. I could still do Prime 1 line right here. If I sold Red Sonja Vampirella and found a different spot for Chucky dolls, I could still do the Prime 1 Predator line. That's why I really need to get the Queen T-Rex. I'm hoping I can get it before Berserker Predator is due for payment, because it will be due for payment, I'm sure, in the next few months. So Queen T-Rex will take probably a month and a half to get. So I'm waiting on that from Resin GK. Once I get it, then I can be like, okay, it can fit there. We'll just sell Red Sonja Vampirella, or we find a different spot for them. You know? So that is a lot easier to move than a giant T-Rex. Same with Prime 1 Predators. Those are very difficult to move. They only fit on 24-inch deep garage shelves and basically middle room. Anyways, folks, that's just kind of what I wanted to go over with you guys. Talk about some of my different, you know, display options. Often I tell myself not to make any changes. I'm like, it's perfect as is. You don't need it. You don't need it. Me trying to fight the addiction. I do need to see that deep tail bust in person. I'm going to get it. I'm going to see it. Now, if I don't like it, or I'm just like, you know what? I don't need it. I'm very happy with this bust. I think this bust fits this display better. The deep tail would be too tall, and the other one's too small. I feel like this display, that bust works better. But next to Prime 1, I feel like deep tail works better. I also think deep tail will be better paint and detail. So, yeah. Anyways, folks, that is it. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.